This is my friend Anthony. I met him earlier this year. Anthony is a passionate animal advocate, he's a passionate vegan, and he's also paralyzed, okay? Now, he became paralyzed after a B12 deficiency from not eating an adequate vegan diet. And I'm kidding, I'm joking, that's a joke. Before you get offended, Anthony approved that joke, okay? He's got a great sense of humor. I heard a little groaning then, all right? Come on. And if you don't believe me about his sense of humor, that's his Instagram username, Vegan Hawking. That's a play on Stephen Hawking, for those of you that missed it. And I'm gonna double down. Look at his Instagram bio. They say you are what you eat, and I only eat vegetables. So Anthony's a legend. He's a lovely guy. Now Anthony he became paralyzed from a condition called ALS. ALS is a degenerative condition, it's a disease. It has left him unable to walk, unable to talk, unable to do anything, even eat or drink. He is bedridden and he could occasionally go out in a specially designed chair, but around the clock, that's his life. Now, he communicates with the world and he makes his posts and he makes his videos using his right foot. He uses a computer mouse that controls an iPad. And this is how he talks, this is how he communicates. Beforehand, he was using the generic robot type voice, but we were able to make him his own voice. We were able to clone his own voice from some old YouTube videos, so now he has his own voice, which is really cool. But that's how he communicates. Now, what really shocked me when I met Anthony is, like, here's this guy who has every excuse in the world to walk away from animals, to walk away from the world. I mean, who could blame him for just giving up and just sort of removing himself, psychologically, right? You wouldn't blame him. Yet here he is as a passionate advocate and a passionate vegan. Yet there are hundreds of millions of people that don't have anything close to what he's going through, who could go vegan in a second, and they don't. And I was asking, why is that? Well, the answer is something that a lot of us don't realize. We have to talk about the world's most successful lie. And we have to talk about, more specifically, the world's most successful PSYOP. Now, what is a PSYOP? So basically a PSYOP is when it's a big organization, a big corporation, or a big government. They do things to make you do what they want you to do. They use fear marketing, they use behavioral nudging to get you to do stuff that oftentimes is against your best interests, is something that you wouldn't do if you knew the whole truth. So it's basically incredibly deceptive and powerful lies. The best example of this that I can think of from growing up is actually the dairy industry. Now, for me growing up, I was always told, milk for strong bones, milk for strong bones. Even now, I think of calcium, I think of a white liquid. Does anybody else have that? Even though that's not where we can get calcium from. Here's some examples of where this comes from and why your parents and your grandparents believed this lie. Look at this advertising. Milk helps a kid grow tall. Subtly telling you that if your kid isn't growing tall, it's because they don't drink milk. You see, it's what they're not saying that's getting the fear. Look at this one, rosy cheeks, sturdy limbs. It's not luck, it's milk. So if your kid is healthy, it's because they're drinking enough milk. If your kid's not healthy, it's because they're not drinking enough milk. That's the message. And then finally, this one just creeped me out. This guy's t-shirt says, "I've taken to the bottle." That's something you say about a baby or a baby animal when they take to the bottle, It's like a breastfeeding thing, or like when they wean them. So this is the kind of stuff that we're up against, The idea that your bones are going to fall apart if you don't drink milk. Let's not forget about the blue skies and the green fields and the cartoon animals and their advertising. So not only do you need to drink milk and also eat meat, otherwise your bones are going to fall apart and you're going to struggle, you're going to suffer. Don't worry about it, because guess what? It's beautiful. Look at it. How lucky are you that the things you need are also the most beautiful, humane, wonderful, wonderfully produced products on earth, right? So it's not just a product that they were selling us, it's also an idea that they were selling us. And it forms this extremely powerful lie, and that's what a PSYOP does. Let's take a look at some of these examples of some cartoon animals. Look how happy they are, look at that. And then look at this, just a farmer in a field, just one farmer, one cow, just chilling in a field. That's how it is, right? This is it, this is a perfect representation of it. This is the kind of stuff they do to us. And then we have to talk about our intuitions. A lot of people's natural intuition is that they have to use and eat animal products because our ancestors did. And it's a really strong belief people have. You wouldn't believe how strong it is, actually. They genuinely think that it's sort of like in their DNA, that this is just what we are, it's what we do. And the industry, what do? These industries, they ride that. They know that, so they keep pushing it. And they tell people, hey, you're going to be sick if you don't eat these things. Hey, and by the way, we're the ones that are saving the environment. Hey, and by the way, look at these animals. We treat them like gods. We treat them better than our own families. And people, they eat it all up. Of course they do. But this isn't the first time these tactics have been used. The tobacco industry did the same thing. Here's some examples. When tobacco started to get actually studied and it showed that it was causing cancer and causing sickness, what did they do? Hey, look, doctors smoke. It's fine. Hey, look, we've done our own studies and actually there's no problem at all. See, because they took people's addiction, they want to smoke, and they just give them some stuff that makes them keep smoking. It's a similar playbook. Now, a lot of people watching at home, and maybe some people here will say, David, you've just jumped from animal products to smoking. Are you mad? Like, come on. Well, I'm not making this stuff up. The meat industry hires the people that do this sort of marketing from tobacco. You might have heard of this man, Richard Berman. He was a tobacco propagandist, made the switch to become a meat propagandist, started working for the meat industry. He got nicknamed Dr. Evil, and I don't mean Austin Powers Dr. Evil. I mean like actual legitimate Dr. Evil. Why? Because he's an extremely effective propagandist and for evil means. You might have heard, has anyone ever heard this where you're talking about vegan stuff online, talking about animals, whatever it may be, and they just go, PETA kills animals. As if everyone works for PETA, right? Every vegan works for PETA. It's weird, isn't it? Have you ever wondered where that comes from? Why do they just say it out of the blue? Where is that even? He created it. He created a group called PETA Kills Animals. He created the campaign. Why? Because PETA was hurting the bottom line of the meat industry. So he tried to take them out. That happened a long time ago, yet still that sticks around today. That's how effective this guy is. He also created a group called Humane Watch. Their only focus is to stop political moves that help animals. So for example, if a group, say, wanted to help change the industry by banning a certain type of cage, his group, Humane Watch, exists only to stop them. Dr. Evil. And people love it. They lap it up. He's very successful in propagandizing because people want to believe him. Because an inconvenient truth is never going to get as much attention and love as a comforting lie. And that's the end of my talk. I'm sorry, we're screwed. And I'm kidding. It's all very doom and gloom, but we're going to change now because despite all of this, and despite it looking like it's you know, what the hell, we've got no chance, people still change, and we need to talk about this. You might know of my friend Hunter. Anyone know Hunter? Awesome. For those that don't, Hunter, he goes as empty cages on Instagram. Hunter was raised by hunting parents. They named him Hunter. He was hunting his whole life until the age of, I think, 18. He got a tattoo of a deer on his left arm because he loved hunting so much. Then became a passionate animal advocate and a vegan. And now, he uses his story to encourage more people to change. And he tells his story really well, so you should really check him out on Instagram. Now, my next example of change is a little bit out there, all right? It's a little bit left field, but bear with me and you'll see why I'm talking about it. I recently watched the film Schindler's List, Steven Spielberg film. Have you seen it? Not many people have seen it. It's a very sad film. But it's about this guy here, Oskar Schindler, who was able to save over 1,000 Jewish people from the Holocaust, right? Now, the film is quite interesting and it's entertaining, but I wanted to do some research and like, who actually is this guy? Was this like a legit story? Turned out, it is true that he did that, but he was not a saint. This man was a bad man. He exploited people. He made a lot of money off the war. He was a Nazi, deeply embedded Nazi, okay, with all the officers, best mates with all of them. Yet, he spent almost all of his money, about £10 million, to save over 1,000 Jews, risked his life and risked everything to get them out. Now, why am I telling you this? What does this have to do with what we're talking about today? Well, it just shows that even when your life is on the line, even when your income is on the line, people can still change and do the right thing. And bear in mind, he did this while there were many people around him you would have expected to do the right thing that didn't. Yet here is somebody who was by all means a terrible person who did do the right thing. It's inspiring, isn't it? And so the point is that even when all hope seems lost, people can change. And how could we talk about change without talking about you? All of you. You were not supposed to be here today. None of you. I hope you realize that. Because these people that run these PSYOP campaigns, it was designed to keep you, you're supposed to be at home nodding along to dancing cows on TV than going buying Dairy Lee. That's what you were supposed to do. You were supposed to be at home eating a steak because you believed the ad that told you you need to eat steak to be a man. But instead you're sat here listening to me at a vegan festival. And the reason that you're here is because you saw the story that was written for you by those propagandists and you said, no, I don't think this is right, I'm going to write my own story. So you looked into the health stuff and you found out that your bones will not fall to pieces if you stop drinking milk. You can get calcium from plants. You found the same thing about protein and meat. And you realized that even if you're an athlete or a couch potato, you're going to be fine. Plant-based diet, you can get your nutrition from animal-free sources. Figured it out. The environmental truth of everything. You've figured out that animal agriculture pollutes at a phenomenal level. And actually, eating plant-based is better in that way too. But the thing that probably got most of you in this room is the lies they told you about animals. It's not all cartoons and happy smiling animals in fields. You found out the truth. You saw what they were doing to baby chicks in the egg industry, killing them at 1 to 2 minutes old. Lucky, if they're lucky, they get a day. Throwing them into a giant blender alive or suffocating them by putting them in a bag on top of each other because they don't lay eggs and they're not the right breed for meat. You saw that. You saw what they do to cows in the dairy industry. You saw how they're separating them from their mothers, the babies from their mothers, and then killing both of them as soon as they become more profitable dead than alive. And something that I think a lot of people have been shocked by recently, you saw they were using gas chambers to kill pigs. To be clear, government approved gas chambers to kill pigs and actually to kill other animals too. You saw all this and you said, no, I'm not going to be part of that anymore. And that's what brought you here today. Now, some vegans will say, you shouldn't be proud of yourself, you just did the right thing. I couldn't disagree more. To break free from a PSYOP that was literally designed to manipulate you, to stand up and change in a world that's still quite hostile to change, is incredibly courageous and brave, and every single one of you should be proud of yourselves. If animals could thank you, they would, okay, and so do I, so just really never forget that. Don't let anyone convince you to not be proud of this. You should be proud of this. Now, the world as it is currently, our kids in schools, they're taught propaganda, they're taught to be disconnected from what's happening to animals, they're taught lies about their nutrition, about our relationship with animals and the food and how they use for resources. They're kind of taught lies about all of it, but what would the world look like if it was the opposite? What if they were taught the truth? What if they were taught about compassion and justice and respect for animals? What would that look like? Well, imagine the supermarkets and you walk in and everything is there is nothing came from an animal who screamed and fought for their life. And instead, we focus on not just something that's tasty, but something that's tasty, but that was made with respect for animals and with justice in mind and compassion in mind. Now that's a world that we can get to. It's a world that it is possible, but how do we get to it? Well, it's going to take all of us working together. It's going to need us to be bold and courageous. It's going to need us to speak up. And I don't just mean literally speak up. I don't mean go out and shout at people, although some people will do that. It can be political activism. It can be recipe videos. It can be fitness stuff. Anything that gets people to see living this way as more normal and acceptable and encourages others to do it is important and needs to be done. And every time you do that, every time, whatever it is that you're good at, that you can get out there and that you can nudge the needle, every time you do that by raising your voice or whatever it is you do, you weaken the grip of the people running these campaigns, of this propaganda, of this PSYOP. You weaken their grip every time one of you does that. And if all of you do it, if all of us do it, we work together, strategically, with powerful actions and activism, and we work as a cohesive unit, doing all our own parts, we won't just weaken their grip, we'll beat them. And we can beat them. You need to believe that. But what if you're someone here today or at home who actually is currently not vegan, made no changes at all? Maybe this is the first time you've ever heard anyone talk about anything like this. What do I think about you? Well, I don't hate you. And I don't think anyone here should hate you. But animals need you to stop letting people reach into your back pocket and do unspeakable things to them with your money in your name. So let this be the message that made you change. Let this be the day you make that change and you stop letting people do these things in your name, on your behalf. Now I'm going to finish today off by talking about my friend Anthony again. You remember Anthony from the beginning? The guy has the paralysis with ALS. I want you to just for a second imagine something for me. What do you think Anthony would give to be in your place right now, to have what you have? To be here at this festival, to be able to walk around, eat what you want, drink what you want, talk to who you want, to do all those things. What would you give if you were in his position? My point here is that all these things that we take for granted are gifts. It is a gift that we can be here. It is a gift that I can be up here on the stage doing what I do, that you can be sat there listening. They're gifts. And what are you going to do with those gifts? Are you going to use them to change the world? Are you going to use them for good? Or are you going to waste them? If you're not currently an advocate of any form, you're doing no activism whatsoever for animals, let this be the day, let this be the moment that made you an activist. Make a commitment now, not to me, make it to yourself, that you're going to go out there and you're going to start speaking, whatever that looks like for you, whatever form that takes. And as you go out there and you start doing this, you're going to come up against some challenges. I'm not going to lie to you, it won't be easy. Some days you're going to wake up and you're going to say, I don't feel like I can speak up today. I don't feel like I can do it. When that happens, remember Anthony. See if you can find the strength. See if you can find it inside yourself. And try. Some days you're going to wake up and you're going to say, hey, people will never change. People are never going to change. I don't know, I don't think it's going to happen. Remember Hunter. Remember Oskar Schindler. What an insane story of change. And get some optimism and remember people can change and they do change. But some days you're going to wake up and you're going to lose all hope. It's going to be gone completely. You're going to feel like just empty. So on those days you lose all hope, please remember this. For the animals, you, all of you are their only hope. If you lose hope, they don't stand a chance. It is over for them. You can't lose hope. So keep resisting, keep fighting, and never, ever give up on them. Thank you.